I think he completely lost motivation. These are not the words of a bitter rival or a dismissive pundit. These are the calculated, chilling words from Patrick Mouratoglou, the mastermind coach who guided Serena Williams to unparalleled dominance. It's a statement that sends a shockwave through the entire world of tennis, because the subject of this stunning assessment is none other than Novak Djokovic. The man who, just yesterday it seems, stood at the absolute zenith of the sport, hoisting his record-equaling 24th Grand Slam trophy, the undisputed titan of the modern era. So what on earth is happening? Is it possible that the most relentless winning machine in sports history has finally run out of fuel? Today, we are peeling back the curtain on one of the most intriguing questions in sports right now. We'll explore the profound psychological theory from Mouratoglou that suggests Djokovic's greatest triumphs have become his heaviest burden. We will reveal the details of a startlingly candid locker room conversation shared by Nick Kyrgios that exposes a side of Djokovic the world has never seen. And finally, we will break down the ultimatum, the one final challenge that, according to Kyrgios, will either reignite Djokovic's fire or extinguish it for good. Is the king about to abdicate his throne? Let's find out. For over 15 years, the world of men's tennis was defined by a singular epic narrative, the battle for GOAT status, the greatest of all time. It wasn't just a competition, it was a cultural phenomenon, a three-way war of attrition fought between the elegant grace of Roger Federer, the superhuman physicality of Rafael Nadal, and the relentless, robotic precision of Novak Djokovic. Every match, every tournament, every single point was a data point in this grand debate that consumed fans, media, and the players themselves. The pressure was immense, the stakes cosmic. It was a fight for history itself. For Djokovic, the man who began as the brash challenger to the established and beloved Federer-Nadal duopoly, this fight became his very purpose. He was the party crasher, the villain in many people's eyes, and that role fueled him. He weaponized the lack of crowd support, turning it into a siege mentality that made him nearly unbeatable. It was the dragon he had to slay, the mountain he had to climb, not just to win titles, but to win respect. According to Patrick Mouratoglou, this singular focus is the key to understanding Djokovic's current state of mind. In a revealing podcast discussion with Nick Kyrgios, Mouratoglou laid out his theory. He argues that the moment Djokovic won his 24th major, effectively settling the statistical debate, and with Rafael Nadal's career winding down due to injury, the very reason for his existence on the court simply vanished. Think about it. For 15 years, every morning he woke up, the goal was clear: catch Roger, catch Rafa, and then surpass them. It was a chase that defined him. Mouratoglou puts it bluntly. He's just realized that he would be the best of all times because Rafa was out, and the thing he was fighting for 15 years, suddenly there's no more goal. The coach describes a profound psychological void that opens up when an ultimate life goal is achieved. This is a well-documented phenomenon known as the arrival fallacy, the belief that once you reach your ultimate goal, you will achieve lasting happiness and fulfillment. But the reality is often a disorienting sense of emptiness. What do you do the day after you've summited Everest? What drives you when the war you've been fighting your entire adult life is finally over and you've won? Mouratoglou believes Djokovic is now grappling with that very question, and the answer is a complete loss of motivation. To support his claim, Mouratoglou points to a specific, telling performance: Djokovic's semi-final match against the rising superstar Jannik Sinner at the 2024 French Open. On paper, it was a high-stakes clash between the veteran champion and the heir apparent, but Mouratoglou saw something else entirely. He said, and I quote, "I don't know if you saw his match against Sinner in Roland Garros, but I felt he was more in demonstration mode than him wanting to win." Demonstration mode. That is a fascinating and frankly damning description for a Grand Slam semifinal. This wasn't the Novak Djokovic who stared down 2 championship points against Roger Federer at Wimbledon in 2019, a man who seemed to be forged from pure will. That Djokovic was a calculating terminator. This new version, Mouratoglou suggests, was almost casual. He implies that Djokovic wasn't there to win at all costs, as we've seen him do countless times before, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. Instead, he was there to feel things out, to enjoy the moment, to connect with the crowd, to put on a good show, and to prove to himself, perhaps, that he could still hang with the new generation. Mouratoglou admits he might be exaggerating slightly, but his conviction is clear. That's crazy, but I think he's such an incredible competitor, I think he would have won. But he just wanted to feel, I can potentially beat those guys. They're not miles away from me, and I want to enjoy the moment. I want the crowd to like me. I want to do a nice press conference after. This is an incredible insight into the psyche of a champion who may no longer need the victory, but still craves the experience and the affirmation. This is a level of analysis that goes beyond just forehands and backhands, and if you appreciate this kind of deep psychological dive into what makes these athletes tick, do me a favor and hit that like button. It tells us you want more content just like this. Now, Mouratoglou's theory is compelling, but it's still an outside observation. What truly gives it weight is when it's backed up by someone who is on the inside, someone who faced Djokovic on the biggest stage and who recently had a revealing, private conversation with the man himself. Enter Nick Kyrgios. Kyrgios, the man who went head-to-head with Djokovic in the 2022 Wimbledon final, has transitioned into a sharp and unfiltered commentator while recovering from surgery. His perspective adds a deeply personal and humanizing layer to this story. On the same podcast, Kyrgios recounted a recent run-in with Djokovic in the locker room at Indian Wells this year. What happened next was both simple and profoundly telling. Kyrgios, in his typically direct fashion, walked up to the 24-time Grand Slam champion and asked a simple question. Why? Why are you here? It's a question that cuts through all the noise. Why, after all the victories, all the money, all the history, are you still grinding it out at a Masters 1000 event, far from home, when you have nothing left to prove? Djokovic's response was, according to Kyrgios, utterly disarming. He just said, I don't know. Kyrgios pressed him, what about your kids? Why won't you spend some time with your family? And again, the champion, the man known for his mental fortitude and unwavering focus, seemed completely adrift. Kyrgios described the moment. This guy's just like, gee, I don't know. So I think that was the first time. I think he misses his family a lot. This short, almost mundane exchange speaks volumes. For years, we've seen the public-facing Novak, the meticulous athlete, the multilingual ambassador, the fierce competitor. But here, in the privacy of the locker room, the mask slips. We see a man, a father, who is perhaps finally feeling the immense weight of 2 decades on the road, chasing a dream that has now been caught. It's one thing for a coach to theorize about a loss of motivation from afar. It's another entirely to hear from a peer that the champion himself confessed in a moment of unguarded honesty that he doesn't even know why he's still on the tour. It paints a picture of a man going through the motions, driven by habit rather than by the burning desire that once defined him. The hunter, now wandering the forest without a target in his sights. This alignment between Mouratoglou's theory and Kyrgios's personal anecdote is what makes this story so powerful. 2 figures from 2 different corners of the tennis world have arrived at the exact same conclusion. The fire that fueled Novak Djokovic's historic ascent is fading. And this leads us to the final dramatic part of their discussion, the prediction, the ultimatum. Having established that Djokovic is running on fumes, Kyrgios laid out a stark prediction for his immediate future. He believes everything now hinges on the next big prize, the next major tournament. He specifically pointed to the upcoming US Open as the make-or-break moment. Kyrgios's logic is ruthless but clear. If Djokovic, in his current state, cannot summon the motivation for one more monumental push, for one more Grand Slam title, then the door might close forever. The sport moves too fast. The young lions, Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz, are not just talented, they are hungry, and they are not going to wait for the old king to find his purpose again. Kyrgios declared, if he wants a Grand Slam, maybe it would give him motivation, but I can't say it. If he doesn't win this one, I don't think he can win another one. That is the final word. A line in the sand. Win the next slam, or the era is truly over. It frames the upcoming major tournaments not just as another competition, but as a referendum on the final chapter of Novak Djokovic's career. Can he find one last reason to fight? Can he manufacture the motivation that once came so naturally? The aura of a champion like Djokovic is a palpable force, but it's fragile. It's built on a foundation of winning the matches you're supposed to lose. Once that foundation cracks, once the new generation sees you're vulnerable, they stop playing the legend and start playing the man. The fear factor evaporates, and every match becomes a dogfight. It's a fascinating question, and one we want to throw to you. Do you agree with Mouratoglou and Kyrgios? Is Djokovic's career essentially over, or is this just a temporary lull before one last glorious charge? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to stay on top of this story and get more incredible insights from the world of tennis, make sure you are subscribed with notifications turned on. You won't want to miss what comes next. So here we are, at a potential turning point in tennis history. We have the man who achieved everything, who climbed the mountain and found himself alone at the top with nowhere else to go. We have the coach who sees a champion in demonstration mode, no longer playing to win. And we have the rival who heard the confession straight from the source in a quiet locker room. I don't know. Has the man who conquered the world of tennis finally been conquered by his own success? Has the relentless competitor who fed on pressure and rivalry for 2 decades finally lost his appetite for the fight? The next few months won't just be about trophies and rankings. They will be about a legend's final battle. A battle not against an opponent across the net, but against the silence that follows a lifetime of chasing greatness. And we will all be watching to see if he can find a new song to sing, or if this is, indeed,